Welcome back to part 13 of Final Fantasy XII, where today we'll be finishing off the rest of the Sand Sea. Sorry for no part yesterday, simply put I wasn't the most well. I wasn't really well enough to really want to be in the mood for recording. And since I was like, look, these take long enough to do anyway, the last thing I want to do is then fumble on the last step just because I wasn't well enough to speak properly. You can probably still hear it a little in my throat, I'm recovering, but I'm a lot better than I was. I've decided against speeding up this one because it's now, like going through the license board, it's for stuff of characters we care about, or characters I care about because I've made my team. I think I kind of go over everyone, but you see that I look along to see what I've got, what I need to get still, how I want to proceed, because we still got all of up here for Balthier as well. Because everyone can have up to 12 Gambit slots, so there's still a lot of Gambits you can get. You can see me run over it. Barsh's Night set, there aren't any real magic. Like, you'll get the odd technique like Soul Eater here, but the rest of it is swords, shields and armor. Oh, and boosting your max health, because Barsh is probably going to have more health than anyone else by the other side of this because of his skill trees. Not that it means the most in the world, like, your health only matters so much in the end game, I think is the best way to put it. Like, the game is a lot more technical, so having 9,999 health only means as much as the next character having 3,000. Like, it really doesn't matter that much. Like, it's a nice little quality of life, and early game definitely it helps, but late game there's only so much it's gonna matter. So you're gonna see me, like, I'll get it early game, but later on where I know it's not gonna matter as much, I'll get something else. I only get it if it's like the last thing there. I end up pushing more towards equipment than anything else. But today's part of the Sand Sea, we did the whole first half, and we're not entirely done. There's still the upper section of this first half, but I decided it's about time we press into the second half, the Namyensa Sand Sea, which has a different theme and isn't as bad. Like, it's still like a fucking mess of loads of way too many areas. But I don't know, I haven't found it that bad because there's actually something to do here. There's a side quest if you go north from here that you can initiate, and then when I circle round, because I need to cover the last area of the other Sand Sea, because there's only one spot we have yet to cover, when I circle round I get it done, and I'll highlight as and when we get to it. But it's more of the same in this part, so forgive me if I end up going off topic or talking on tangents as this part goes on. I'll actually start by talking about something that I wanted to talk about the other day. I can't remember if it was last part or the part before, but ended up getting busy, or I just ended up getting sidetracked that I ended up not talking about it, when the fact I wanted to. And that's the fact that, for people who've been following this channel for a while, a Let's Play I did on this channel was Death End Request. And one of the biggest things that I enjoyed about it was the mystery of the story. The story itself had a lot of things left unanswered, but the mystery, how it worked, the darkness of it, because it was a pretty gruelingly dark story in parts, fascinated me, and I wanted to see how they were going to answer everything in the sequel. But at the time when I recorded it, the sequel didn't have anything, even a whisper of anything about it coming to the West. Since then, it was earlier this week, to celebrate the 1-year anniversary of the Western release of Death End Request 1, the international team that handled the translations for it all did a live stream for it. During the live stream, they officially confirmed Death End 2 is coming to the West, and it is coming to PS4. They're not pulling a Mary Skelter again and suddenly putting the Western version on a different console. It is going to be on PS4, so when that comes out, supposedly this year, they made it very clear it was going to be out this year, which, if Death End 2 looks so much bigger than the first game, I'll be amazed if they can actually do it. I'm expecting next-gen consoles to be out before it hits here, which will be unfortunate, because if that happens, it'll probably undersell, because it'll be a PS4 game when the PS5's just come out. There's always that grace period when not everyone will move up a console gen, but if previous generations have taught me anything, it does hurt sales of your games if you release it on the previous console afterwards. Look at the original Shantae that came out for the Game Boy Color when the Advance had just come out, and how badly they hurt that. Somehow, thankfully, it carried on and lived to fight another day, and I'm glad it did, because the Shantae series, anyone could tell you, is great fun. But I'm just worried for Death End 2, because Death End is already quite a niche game, and being something that's going to be in the closing years of the PS4 as well, I don't know, we'll see. If they can get it out for like September, maybe, I think they'll be fine, but I think they'll either wait till next year if it's gonna take that long, or maybe, I don't know. But I am excited for it. New main character, does continue on the story to last. Barely missed that loot there, so that's great. Did you see that? The loot dropped, and by the time I noticed it, it turned off its like connection box to pick it up as I reached it, even though it was still visible. But that being said, when Death End 2 comes out, I think that's like going to be the first project of my life, like when it comes to this channel, where before it's even out, I can tell you I will be let's playing it at some point. I won't do it blind because I've never liked doing projects blind. The only time it was a bit of an exception was the Final Fantasy X live streams, and oh wait, I never finished it. So I'll definitely do like maybe 1 or 2 playthroughs. Probably 2, just so then I can get more of a rhythm of where I need to go and what I need to do. And then start recording it for this channel. But that also means I've kind of got a time limit, because I'm going to want to record Death End 2, which means I'm going to want this project to be done before then. So I'd rather not do both. But back on the topic at hand, when we entered here, you might have seen one of those sand people ran away from this Moogle and was in a hostile in any way, shape or form. If you talk to the Moogle afterwards, he'll tell you that the guy, that sand person, actually asked this Moogle for help. It's not tied to a hunt. It's actually a side quest. A little south of where we just came from, a giant turtle-like enemy has just spawned in because we've accepted this side quest. That turtle is beating the shit out of all the sand people. And that one doesn't want its whole tribe to get wiped off the face because of this giant turtle thing. We just picked up a handkerchief, by the way, so you can now clean oil off yourself. Oil is a status condition that makes you take far more damage from fire, regardless of whether you're immune to it or weak to it or whatever. It like heavily boosts just how much damage you take from it. It's kind of ridiculous. But we've got the last bit of this side of the Sand Sea that we can now cover, because it's a nice way to just kind of circle around. And then I cut to back being in the Nam Yensa, so I just go back around the way we came. Other than that, I'm coming from Idea Factory. They announced that they're doing a crossover, like, new Neptunia spin-off, which I'm not really that interested in, because I'm not the biggest person for the Nep spin-offs as a whole. The only 2 I've played, Cyber Dimension was safe and alright, but wasn't surprising me or doing anything special. Like, it was just like, I played it once, I enjoyed it, and I probably won't touch it again. But Super Nep I outright just didn't enjoy. I felt like it was too limiting. And so, now that they've announced a new spin-off, it's going to be a mobile shooting game. I don't know if it's actually on mobile phone, just from the footage I've seen on it, it looks like it might be. It might be a console one, I just don't know. That's the only way to put it, I just don't know. But the thing that's, like, surprising me, if you've watched my Neptunia V2R playthrough, or Neptunia 4, or if you've just played the games yourself, you'll know that one of the main 4 characters is Noir, and she has a younger sister called Uni, and Uni is a gun enthusiast, a huge gun enthusiast at that. Like, she always uses guns, she knows them ins and outs, she builds her own guns, she's that enthusiastic about it. Like, she loves it. So in the shooting game spin-off, they decided to not have Uni be a playable character. What? They should not only should be been playable, she should have been the main bloody character. But I know it might not even make it to the West, so I might be complaining for nothing, just for the simple fact that it's crossing over with VTubers, which are essentially like popular Japanese streamers and YouTubers. And it's a crossover with them, so like some of the characters have been anime-ified versions of those people. And I think for that alone, it might affect how it comes over to the West, because if even one of them's got their name copyrighted or anything, then it might be a little bit more awkward to get it to the West, you know? But we're nearing the end of this side of the Sand Sea, so I'll be cutting back quite shortly to where we were, after I just check over everything. We got the golden shield, and this isn't like Minecraft, this is Final fucking Fantasy, so gold does mean better. If you had a silver shield at this point, which I can't remember if you can actually get at this point, I mean, you might have, but if you had a silver shield at this point, the gold is better than it. Because it's a higher rank, so they just count it as better. In some Final Fantasy games, I don't think this one though, they made it so it would actually respond differently to fire attacks as well, to be more accurate to real life gold. But that was about it. So yeah, I look around here, do the last of my searching, and I'm like, well, that's everywhere. There's nowhere on this map we've been to, so it's now a good time. Well, I haven't been down that little half circle, but that doesn't count, so it's now time to cut back to where we was. This is the turtle enemy I was talking about, the side quest. Because they kind of want you to be able to do this side quest right here and now, this thing's pretty weak. You can see it's already mostly dead. It's not tied to a hunt, it's nothing extra special. It will die very quickly, and if you decide to target it first, you can have an even easier time. There you go, it's done. And it'll even give you a little note. So it's not an actual hunt, so it doesn't come up saying yada yada, vanquished. But if you go back up and talk to the Moogle, he'll thank you for it. Saying the Uhtred Yensa from before. And he was headed for Ogre Yensa. So if you now continue the path off to Ogre Yensa, because you've yet to be rewarded for it, if you then continue your path back to Ogre Yensa, you'll get a little trail of miniature cutscenes. Because they're not voiced cutscenes, it's just side quest cutscenes. Were you off looking for a reward, Kupo? Did you find the treasure of the Sand Sea? Just where is he going, Kupo? And on that notion alone, that's enough for us to follow back into Nam Yensa. For another little cutscene, it gives you more of an idea about how this Yensa tribe of sand people actually function, and how they work, and why they are the way they are. But it's not as elaborate as you might hope, or at least as elaborate as I had hoped. It's a lot more simple. I like that they have giant fish allies though, that's kind of cool. Like royal guards. Kupo, a gathering of the Uhtred Yensa. A truly rare occurrence, Kupo. That must be the Queen. Kupo? Wait, what's happening, Kupo? Wait, no! They're going to execute him! Yeah, this little Moogle just pushing his way. Don't do this! This creature would still be at large if it weren't for his plea for help, Kupo! You shame us by seeking aid outside the tribe! Uhtred and Edja are lords and masters of the Great Sea. We are aid of none. We seek the aid of none. Your words are the hollowing of the sand to my ears. I condemn you to dust. What have you done, Kupo? You bring him back. Those who sully our name will be punished. Be they foreman or kin, they must pay the honor price. I will destroy you too, but I am merciful. Better you tell the world of the Ultra not to be taken lightly. Now leave. Then it leaves. So the Uhtred tribe, it's almost in their lore and their beliefs that they have to remain alone. But for doing this side quest, this reward is this flower that is put in its place. The berries you can take from this flower are the main reason why I said they want you to do this side quest now, not later, because it will be worthless later. There is a boss fight coming up that will actually take severe damage if you feed it these berries. Which is why I highlight it. That flower, it's a rare occurrence. Maybe the treasure that you found was this. Flower is not yet buried. If you leave and come back later on, more berries will grow, so if you want to get loads and then completely decimate that boss coming up, you're welcome to. But the boss coming up in question isn't that bad, so really don't worry about it if you decide against it. Like, bring one for the sake of almost marking that you've done it, but then after that, try not to worry so much. The only thing that's kind of annoying, and you've seen it already happen to me a couple times, these sons of bitches will cast haste on you and then cast haste on themselves and then slow on you. Meaning that they could get potentially up to 4 turns before your character gets one, because haste doubles their speed and slow halves yours. And then they start to become a problem, because they're just going to be beating the shit out of you. Also, your guest characters we've yet for it to have actually happened until just now, which is why I'm highlighting it. Guest characters do level up. They will level up with you. You just can't do anything with them. Like they are, because they're only guests. Like they're their own equipment. You can affect their gambits, but you can't affect anything else. Their stats, their equipment, whatever. But they will level up with you. So it can actually sometimes be recommended, and I've even hinted at it before. When a guest joins, going off and doing what you want whilst you've got them, because you've literally got 4 party members, and your 4th party member, although you can't control them, will still keep up with the rest of your party and be relatively strong. There's one much later in the game that I'll highlight when we get to it, where a lot of people, there's a save point just perfectly placed just after the guest joins, and it's like the last guest that can join you in the adventure, and it's just after the point where every single hunt and bounty in the game could be accessed. So a lot of people, if they just want an easier time, will save there and then leave and do all the side questing they want to do now they've got a 4th party member. I might do something similar, but funnily enough, I haven't recorded that far. I'm nowhere near finishing the game in my recording. The Wraithful Tomb that we're approaching, as far as my recording's got, I've just finished recording it. So we've literally got the Sand Sea and the Tomb, and then I've caught up with my recording so far, so I need to organise another play session when I get some free time. Probably not today, because after this recording finishes, it's why it's uploaded a little bit earlier than usual, because I'm just going to be busy for a lot of today, so I won't get the time to. But hopefully in the weekend I'll get more footage recorded, so then come next week I can get more parts done. Because I need to start the editing before I can even... Well, I need to record them before I can even start editing, and then I need to finish editing them before I put my voice on them. So it's a bit of a pain, but it is what it is. There's only one section of the Sand Sea that we can't reach, and you can see if you look on the map, it's just to the right of where we are. Through the many paths of the cave entrances that's underneath it, there's one exit to the cave that you can't enter, you can only exit from it, and that will take you to that spot where there is some decent loot. But I'm not brave enough to try and go for it yet. Maybe my next recording, if I make a note, maybe my next recording I'll deter and try and see if I can go off and get it, but we'll see. If not, I'm going to do a clean-up part much later in the game where I go back to any area I've missed and clear out things like that. Like, the cave system will get covered properly. It's just not going to get covered now because I know I won't stand a chance, because the boss at the end of it is way too strong for our current level. High potion. And there is actually a bounty hunt here as well, so we've not only got our side quest but our hunt here as well. So we'll be doing that later in this part. And that one's not too bad to do, but if you are going to do it now, make sure you do it whilst Voss is in the team. Like when Voss has joined as a guest. Like, don't finish this area, because once we finish this in the tomb, Voss leaves party as a guest, because he's only here to help us get to the tomb. So if you finish that, then go to tackle it, you'll have a harder time, and you'll end up waiting until much later in the game before you can more confidently take it down. Which is why I say if you're going to do it now. And the main reason being is because it's a flying enemy. It's one that's actually got the flying symbol on it, which means all physical attacks won't hurt it. But Vossler has telekinesis, which will ground a flying enemy, so then the rest of us can hurt it. And you might notice we actually got these enemies, when we first entered this cave system a few parts ago, I had to run away from, and now we can kill a couple of the basic ones as we go through. We actually stand a little bit of a chance against the slimes as well, but for the sake of just looting, I hold down flee and then run through to see if I can find anything. And end up in trouble, because everywhere's a dead end, so I'm just going, alright, let's go, let's leave, goodbye. And this is where we get hit with sleep, so I start to worry a little bit, so I'm like, okay, we need to deal with this, otherwise I can't move. Theoretically, if I really desperately wanted to get out of it and it was an absolute emergency, I would have just kept R2 held down and just swapped what character I was in control of and left Barsh there for a little bit. He would have caught up when we room transitioned. But as I was working back to where we were after that little detour, we've thankfully the rest of it is more linear. The only extra detour from where we are is for the hunt. You can see if you look on the paths, almost each one link to each other in a sequence going to the end. But there's one path, dead north of where we are now, that goes off on its own. that path up on its own is where the hunt is, and it's also where the other piece of equipment that I mentioned last part that you really want is. Last part we got an accessory that doubled license points in the characters we got, and I said there's another one that's equally as exciting and something desirable that doubles experience of the character it is on. That is also in the Sand Sea. Up on that upper path where the hunt is where that accessory is. But you can also find balance here as well, which is a nice spell to have, but I don't think I'll ever really use it because it's such a situational little spell. But for the sake of completion, of course I'm going to try and pick it up. If I've mentioned before, but when it comes to trying to get completion in this game, I will make a big dent and push as much as I can to it. But if I get to the other side and there's literally dozens of little things I'm missing, I really won't be that fast. If I get to the other side and do everything I want to do, and I'm only missing like 2 spells, I'll just look them up and then get them. Maybe like at 8 at most, if of like spells and stuff I'm missing. Like if it's like a small number that I can just quickly look up a guide, get it all in one part, and it'll be fine. But if it's going to be a really big thing, and it's going to be loads of little things I miss, I need to travel all over the world, I'm not going to do it. I can imagine though, by the time I finish this project, everyone will be level 99. Which is a first, because I've never actually hit level 99 in this game before. I usually hit like the highest I get to. Well, my blind playthrough, by the time I stopped playing, so I didn't actually do every single hunt, I just did most of them. I got to like level 75, and then there was just a little bit of a grind wall that I needed to do, and I just kept on putting it off, and putting it off, and putting it off, and then I just never got back to it. And eventually it was like, well, if I get back to it now, I'm going to be so out of practice, so I won't be any help to anyone anyway. So I just thought, well, if I want to do this Let's Play anyway, I'll just do it after I've done that. So there will be a couple hunts that I've never done before properly, but it's not going to be the end of the world. Like, it's not blind. I know what they are, I know how they function, I just haven't done a couple of them. But this is the area. If you deter up to the right side here, you can get the double experience accessory. And I need to stress, double experience, you want this. Doesn't matter what, unless you're going for a level 1 run, then it really doesn't matter. But it doesn't matter what kind of player you are, it's cutting down on grind time, you want this. It's not that. There it is. The embroidered Tepet. Doubles EXP earned. It's accessory slot 5, which Ashe has. And because Ashe is going to be our mage, her stats are the most valuable to me. Her stats are the ones I want to see go the highest, because I need those numbers. I need her MP to be as high as I can get it. I need her magic stat to be as effective as possible so she can heal people efficiently and hurt others efficiently. So giving the double experience to her made the most sense. Whilst Balthier having double license points also makes the most sense, because his actual skills are what most valuable to me. What he can get from his ability to be a time mage is of great importance and significance, so it is a necessary evil. Basch is the only one who doesn't really need to experience because his defense is god tier already, nor does he really need the license point as much because it's only getting him extra accessories and equipment. Which, if we're not far enough in the game to, you know, buy anyway, doesn't matter to him. So by the time we are in a position, it'll be fine. I get Ashe to cast Protect on everyone but Vossler, because Vossler's defense is high enough as is, just because I know the hunt is up here. And so I thought I'll just get it done now before I push up. The only thing of real importance of the hunt that we're approaching is that there are basic enemies in the vicinity of it as well, and you're going to want to target them first because otherwise they'll just be a nuisance. They don't take long to kill, so you don't want to be taking extra little tidbits of damage whilst you're trying to deal with the main threat. And our ancient sword's getting its work in, casting Petrify. But we are finally, nearly approaching the end of this goddamn area as we get the Chancellor's de Gerber. And you're gonna see me, like, I saw it in like a later part, but I actively look for this thing because I just can't find it. But that's it there. Okay, it must have been a different piece of equipment then. Yeah, it was a different piece. Never mind, ignore me. There's a part coming up where I pick up an accessory or an item and I can't for the life of me find it. Like, you see me scroll through all the menus, I just can't spot it, and I just scrolled straight past it. But I thought it was that one, but no, it must have been one in the Wraithfall's Tomb coming up. And here, because there's so many, I just start experimenting a bit more, because the hunt is also here, the Wyvern Lord. And so I use an item to deal with it a bit more efficiently. And if it's because, although Vossler, you can't directly control him, you can get him to help us out. So I get him to put a golden needle on Balthier since he was about to be turned to stone. And you can see, like, Vossler, telekinesis on flying enemies is his top priority on his gambits, so he's just wrecking the thing. Because it does also do damage, and it allows the rest of us to actually hit a little. But I think eventually I just resort to quickenings again, because quickenings ignore all this anyway, so I just go for it. What I should have done, however, is start on Ashes to level 2 since she's just got it. Because now I don't think I get Ashes level 2. Because I just spent her level 1, so she's down to 1 bar, and I just don't think I get lucky enough with another mischarge to show it off this part. Yeah, no, see, it just gave me another Nordswain glow, because I got unlucky with the mischarge. When you've got multiple levels of quickenings, your mischarge will give you one of them at random. It will technically fully refill your bar, you'll just be getting only one of them at random, so you just have to put up with that. And level 2s, I doubt I need to stress. Oh no, we do get Heaven's Wrath. Okay, good. I thought it was next part we got it, because I made a point of editing it in, so I'll have to readdress that. No matter. Heaven's Wrath is Ash's first level 2. I believe it's Holy Elemental, so keep that in mind. If you're fighting against an undead enemy, it will wreck them hard. And it's a cool. All of them are cool animations. They're just long. And because you're going to be repeating the same sort of attacks over and over again, as you're seeing here, it does start to burn on you, which is why starting pretty soon, I'm going to make it so when I go to do one, I will only show the finisher, or like one significant attack of it, and you can just, unless it's a new one I'm showing off, then it'll just be how it is. And this was also around the time in my recording where I was starting to be like, I'm using quickenings for a lot of fights here. Like, I like using them because they're a tool at your assets, so fucking use your tools, use what you've got as most effective. But I even like watching this, I was like, this is starting to feel a bit repetitive. So after a while, I think maybe starting next part, I try and make a habit of using it less often when it comes to boss fights. Like some bosses I just don't use it outright. Like there are still some fights where it's like, no, this fight's annoying, you want to use quickenings to shrink down the busy work. But some of the more fun or interesting boss fights, I'll be hesitating on. Yeah, deal ranged damage with melee weapon, telekinesis. And it's dead, there we go. It breaks our 8 chain because it's a different enemy, but oh well. We'll go have to try and turn that in when we get back. But that should make your rank go up. I think it will make it go up to Vanguard. Which will allow you to accept a new elite hunt at Mont Blanc, as well as pick up a few new ones at Rabanastre. But when you hit Vanguard, the doors kind of open with the hunts. Like you're not going to see rank 1s and rank 2s that much anymore, like the ones that we've got so far. Like you'll go back to Rabanastre and suddenly there'll be a bunch of rank 3, 4s and 5s, and you're like, oh, hello. And the rank 5s you're probably not going to win against at this stage in the game. The rank 3s you'll probably like get your way through. Like I'd say you're like, if you treat each rank as another 10 levels, with rank 1 starting at level 1, being around mid 20s approaching 30, rank 3s you should be able to handle. But rank 5s, following my own philosophy, no, we need to be like mid to late 40s, but if not approaching 50 before we tackle them. Some of the later ones, like the later ranks, when we get to like rank 8 and rank 9, I feel like it's around the point where your levels like don't matter as much, and it's more about your strategy. Because there are some pretty brutal hunts later on where it feels like your levels don't matter that much. These two are the shopkeepers I was referring to last part, where I said that they will linger on the outside and just sell you basic stuff, until you actually go to approach Wraithfall, because in the next area, as soon as we enter it, we got a boss fight. Once you deal with the boss, then from there these guys will move in and you can relax a bit more before you enter the Wraithfall tomb properly. But these guys sell some pretty decent stuff, so feel free to kind of go through and see what you can buy. Just obviously, I always say this, but this is Final Fantasy 12, so it always needs to be said, just be wary of your guild spendings. Buy what you need to get, but be conservative, because you've only got so much and money is not easy to come by in this game. To the point where you're going to see me actively not buy equipment for the extra free, because I'm not using them, so what's the point? Instead, they get the hand-me-downs of whatever's the others move up to, so they at least have something in an emergency situation. You can also now buy high potions, which you're going to see me immediately ignore my own advice and splurge to buy all of, to which we now end up missing this, because I'm like, well, hang on a minute, if we can buy techniques, we can buy new spells, which isn't quite the case. They sell the same ones as the last shop we went to, but it is, like, you're going to see me now like try and sell everything to try and compensate, because I want those spells. Because he's selling stop, which is amazing for time mages, because stop straight up, as the name suggests, stop you from being able to take any command. It makes it so your active time gauge, like the bar that fills up before you can attack, stops existing. It doesn't do anything anymore. Anytime I go to accessories, you'll always see me hesitate a little bit, because it's like accessories aren't always that easy to come by again if you sell them. Some of them you just can't, they're one time only. So you always see me be a little hesitant. If I know for a fact they're never going to get another use, then I'll sell them. Like when we start getting ribbons, because ribbons do exist in this game, a lot of these accessories are going to stop mattering so much. Which, if you've never played a Final Fantasy game and don't know what a ribbon is an immunity to all status conditions. It's an accessory and that's all it does. It makes you immune to all status conditions. And yeah, there are some that might be more attractive because they do more fanciful things. The ribbon is always a best friend, and to prove my point, if you go onto the license tree, if you're playing it at all, go to accessories on any character, follow it to the end. The ribbon is in its own category at the very end. It will say like accessory 20 whatever, and then it will just say ribbon, because it's that important. But that being said, next time on Final Fantasy 12, we'll be taking on the boss and entering the Tomb of Wraithfall. But until then, you guys take care now.